करने होना वा किहड़े थोड़ा जिहा एक्सप्लेनेशन देना किहड़े अपने मेहमान आ लिखे हुए थे कईयां नूं डेफिनेशन जेनोसाइड का पता नहीं कई नूं पता वा कई नूं अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं हो रहा कि की होया सीगा ते एक बहुत कंफ्यूजन आ रही है प्रोफैसर इंदिरा इत्थे आ रही है वैनकूवर तो उन्हें सारे इंग्लिश एक्सप्लेन करने भी की होया ते की है सिखाना ते की डेफिनेशन है so now I'd like to invite Professor Indira onto the stage so she can explain briefly on give her speech on what's happening from her humanitarian perspective.
I'm here to show solidarity for what not only transpired in 1994, but what is happening now. And I also want to address that it is not only Sikhs that are standing in solidarity. I'm half German, I'm half Indian, and of Hindu Christian background, and I stand here to speak today. What brought me to this terrain is my mother, who's a professor of German descent, interviewed Holocaust survivors and was accepted by that community. But what I have seen is a double standard. When I mean Sikh women, the widows that I just visited 2 weeks ago, twice this year, are standing and asking for redress and punishment of those that have been killed. Why do we silence their voices? Why do we politicize it? This is a double standard that has led me to work on the human rights issue. And I want to focus on 2 themes. Number 1, why memorialization matters, and number 2, why the government continues to use the term right and why we need to challenge that. The continued contact between Sikhs and the state has been one of minority-majority relations, involving torture, assimilation, human rights violations, and academics are coming forward and also characterizing it as genocide. There are 3 reasons why we want to engage in memorialization. And the first is, it's not about memory and one's history alone. Dr. Karen Durr, professor at Concordia with the Institute of Genocide Research, conducting interviews with Holocaust survivors, said that remembering historical tragedies are essential for a community to come together and to also trace back the bloodshed and genocide so that history does not repeat itself. I wish to illuminate that achieving justice by having the perpetrator's punishment is powerful and paramount to avoid further cycles of atrocity. And people question what happened to the Muslims by state violence in Gujarat. A precedent must be set, and being here today is part of that process. Secondly, the issue of memorialization is the denial of justice. Professor Vogel from the University of Hofstra in New York clearly stated that people are begging for justice, and we silence them. Those themes were echoed when I met the widows, and one of them said to me, "We cry, we eat, work, and nothing else. The people in Delhi who died were innocent. We can only remember them. We've gone to rallies, no results, no justice." These words clearly explain the torment and difficulty to move forward in and outside of India. And I want to rebut statements that have been politicized here, and that is raising the issue of 84 is going to divide communities. I challenge that by saying that people will be at peace. They will have closure, and it probably can unite communities. So we must continue to challenge that. Thirdly, Sikhs as a collective worldwide, to some extent, can identify with the anguish, and I see that in your eyes. I see pain, and I also see hope. This sentiment was illustrated to me when when one key witness, Mr. Singh, who lost 26 members of his family, said the following: "The way we went into the Gurpatwant, I felt that this was an attack on the Sikhs. The first thing that went through my mind was that no Sikh is going to be spared. I want to add that for those who survived and were able to bear witness, their witnessing is a vital connection between the dead and the living, and that's why we need to solicit their voices and not silence them, which has occurred." I now want to move to the term genocide. But before I do that, I want to talk about language. Does the term accurately describe what occurred? Does the term right really describe what it is? First of all, when we're talking about genocide, it is important to recognize that no atrocity can actually be given a qualitative or quantitative number. And what we need to recognize is, in fact, that genocide has multifaceted characteristics. And the person who coined the term genocide was Makken, and he defined it as a coordinated plan aimed at the destruction of essential foundations of life and national groups. And it was his lobbying in the UN that led to the resolution 96-1 that was passed. And it led, in fact, to Article 2. And there are 5 characteristics within that that we need to see as being connected to what happened to Sikhs. Killing members of the group, causing bodily harm, and seriously inflicting pain on the Sikh body. You want to ask yourself, why do governments prevent individuals from using the term genocide? Because genocide is the one factor that will allow UN intervention, and military intervention as it's been defined that way. And secondly, genocide downplays the wounds the state has inflicted on its people, and that has economic implications. We all know that. So, my message to you is to think about how you are participating in using state language, and that you also need to recognize that we have to continue to raise a voice about 1984 and also challenge when people indeed tell us that it's not genocide. Let them do their homework and then let them come back to you. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa,